The Rickey Smiley Morning Show.
It's the front page news.
It's what's trending now.
All right, y'all, Rickey Smiley Morning Show. The segment is being brought to you by AARP. That's right, y'all. It's Black Music Month, so get up. That's right, y'all. So get up and get down Monday morning with the Black Music Month Song of the Week, sponsored by AARP. Don't miss it. All right, y'all. We got a special guest this morning, Jim Goodwin, publisher of black-owned newspaper of the Oklahoma Eagle. Yesterday and today marked the 99th anniversary of 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. The publisher of Tulsa, Oklahoma's only black-owned weekly newspaper, the Oklahoma Eagle, joins us this morning. Y'all help me welcome Mr. Jim Goodwin to the show, y'all. Come on.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Hey, Mr. Goodwin. Mr. Goodwin, good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Delighted to be with you.
Yes, sir. The Greenwood District, which was known as Black Wall Street, was destroyed in a matter of days. More than 1,200 homes were burned, 35 blocks burned, and estimated 300 black people killed. And you know, while people talking about Target and AutoZone and all these other places or whatever, you know, and we're not condoning any of that. We're not condoning any violence. But don't forget Black Wall Street before you get in your feelings. That's just me. That's not on you. So why don't more people know about Black Wall Street?
Well, the Oklahoma Eagle, that's been around as long as the massacre. We rose out of the ashes of the massacre, and we will celebrate contemporaneously our 100th year. In fact, we're planning our second century as a newspaper. But there was a conspiracy of silence for many years. It's only but recent that they're now beginning to include it in the textbooks. But the thing about Oklahoma people need to understand is that you can't really tell the story of the Black Wall Street unless you include in it the history of the Indian Removal Act, the Indian Allotment Act, slavery, of course. At one time, black Oklahomans, owned over 3 million acres of land in northeastern Oklahoma. And as a result of that, they became wealthy because this was an oil and gas state, and as well as land. Booker T. Washington, who named the prosperous community, the Black Wall Street, as you know, thought that the black man's route to wealth was to own land, and it was because of the ownership. Now, interesting enough, Black Wall Street would never have occurred but for Jim Crow. I mean, it's a perfect example of what man intends for evil, God intends for good. Jim Crow was designed to subjugate and to keep us in depression, but the intelligence, the willpower, the love of the American ideal of freedom and enterprise, black folks prevailed. To tell the world this whole business of white supremacy is just poppycock. I mean, not only after the massacre, it rebuilt itself, and that's why it's a prize I think the whole world is looking at. With the population at the time, there were about 77,000 population, 13% of which was black. And at the time of the massacre, over 50%, almost 60% of the black community was imprisoned for about eight days in internment camps. Wow. This is a perfect example of jealousy. I mean, there was sheer jealousy. Here, the popular view with many white Americans was a black inferiority. But this was proven. This city proved that to be a massive lie.
We're talking to Jim Goodwin, the publisher of black-owned newspaper, the Oklahoma Eagle. Mr. Goodwin, what would you say to someone that's really, really upset? And of course, we don't advocate and condone violence, and a lot of people don't know about Black Wall Street. Of course, I talk about it all the time. As a matter of fact, I've been to Black Wall Street and went and paid my respect. And but before you answer, before I ask that, let me ask you this: did they ever uncover I know the mayor was trying to do something in if I'm not mistaken, in that area where that baseball field is. It's supposed to be a mass grave with black people up under that baseball field, and they're supposed to. Where are we with that?
Well, the COVID virus postponed the digging of the suspected places for burial, but black folks were buried all over this community. Oaklawn Cemetery is considered one place that they are buried. The names and identities of those people who were killed and murdered have not all yet been discovered. However, there are movements going on and underway for the uncovery of those people who were lost. I think it's important to remember that, and this is something that may be inexplicable, but Tulsa, Oklahoma was the one place, it was a living testimony or testament against white supremacy. Black folks were not considered, and we still suffer from this whole idea of racism today, but black folks were not supposed to be intelligent, or were not supposed to be capable of functioning because of days of slavery. But Greenwood proved that to be a massive lie. And it was such a thing that white folks who were racist could not abide. They came in and plundered and destroyed, killed, stealed, and destroyed an entire community in less than a day. And the people in the area were in prison for almost 8 days. The Oakland Eagle has been writing about it for years, and it was interesting. We are the only institutions that still exist after that aftermath were two churches and the newspaper. Three very vital and important institutions in our world today. And we have, although it's been not an easy battle, the Oakland Eagle is now rebranding itself. We have a presence now on the net, on Facebook, and we have our own webpage, and we intend to be the critic and the watchdog and the catalyst and provocateur for people to talk about this. This Mr. Lloyd, who was murdered, Floyd, who was murdered here. They asked
Mr.
me
Goodwin.
what's the difference. Yes.
Mr. Goodwin, what is your advice as businesses are being looted and burned, including our own, while police and protesters are clashing?
Well, we've learned this lesson. You cannot fight hate with hate. The outrage is certainly understandable, and enough is enough. But you cannot fight hate with hate. It just exacerbates it. The whole, Dr. King gave us the message, and proven itself to be true. We're going to have to find ways to love one another. Yet there's got to be a stopping of this police brutality. And the world is now understanding it. The United States, that's why you have this multiracial coming together. When they saw what happened to Mr. Floyd, that was simply evil. It was evil. It was right. It was not right. It was wrong. And people understand that. People are looking at people as people. And that's what we should do. We don't need to dissect this in terms of racism. It was wrong. And every time we see a human being abused, and black folks are abused much, much more often in the criminal justice system, we should stand up if it's wrong.
Yes, sir. And one of the things, and I'm going to stay on top of this, because when I left Oklahoma the last time I was there, and I was up in Tulsa, one of the things that first of all, Black Wall Street really set in my spirit. But man, when I looked at that baseball field and know that there are mass graves in that area, that stuck with me, and I'm going to make sure that I follow up on that. And I hope that they can uncover that baseball field and give people from our community and our ancestors a proper burial. That's really, really sad and hurtful. And the whole Black Wall Street thing, and I'm not condoning violence, and I don't recommend nobody go and tear up or loot or tear up anything. We have to do the right thing, regardless of what your religious belief is. We have to do what's right. I understand, Mr. Goodwin, myself, but people like yourself that have made ultimate sacrifices, where we can have what we have. I just think about those people that have died and was killed and mistreated 400 years, generation after generation. People born into oppression, people died being oppressed, never had an opportunity to be free. And we just have to figure out the right way to do it. Mr. Goodwin, thank you so much for everything. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for it's really just heavy. All of this stuff is just so heavy. When you see our kids out there, you see our black women being mistreated, being abused, being maced, dogs being still to this day being sick on black people.
But Dr. King reminded us, though, we're going to have to live together as brothers or die as fools. And I think the soul of America really is, black folks have brought to attention and brought to the consciousness of the world their humanity. And I think that will hopefully make America much more righteous when it learns to deal with equality and justice for black Americans.
Y'all, please help give it up and show your love for Tulsa, Oklahoma's own Mr. Jim Goodwin, owner and publisher of the Oklahoma Eagle. You can find him online at the oklahomaeagle.net.